A panel of judges voting 2-1 that the state could not revoke the rights of a minority group without a legitimate reason. Writing for the majority opinion was Judge Stephen Reinhart, quoting, Proposition 8 serves no purpose and has no effect other than to lessen the status and human dignity of gays and lesbians in California and to officially reclassify their relationships and families as inferior to those of opposite-sex couples. The Constitution simply does not allow for laws of this sort. On the significance of the word marriage, Reinhart went on to write, we are excited to see someone ask, will you marry me? Whether on bended knee in a restaurant or in text splashed across a stadium jumbotron, certainly it would not have the same effect to see, will you enter into a registered domestic partnership with me? Same-sex couples won't be able to marry in the state yet, as the court will likely stay its own decision, pending appeal from supporters of Prop 8, who, of course, responded forcefully today. Brian Raum, senior counsel for the Alliance Defense Fund, spent all his buzzwords except Pelosi. We are not surprised, he said, that this Hollywood-orchestrated attack on marriage, tried in San Francisco, turned out this way, but we are confident that the expressed will of the American people in favor of marriage will be upheld at the Supreme Court. Fans and foes of marriage equality say they are ready to take the decision all the way to the Supreme Court. That's not likely to actually happen until 2013, maybe the year after, but the court will probably have to address it eventually. Other cases challenging the Federal Defense of Marriage Act are already making their way through lower courts, and gay marriage measures are moving forward in Washington and Maryland and New Jersey. I'm joined now by Michael Cole-Schwartz, Communications Director for the Human Rights Campaign. Mr. Schwartz, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Keith.
Clarify the practicality here. Did anything actually change today?
Well, nothing is different today than it was yesterday for same-sex couples. They're still currently not able to marry in California, but what this ruling does is it says that Proposition 8 is unconstitutional, that you cannot single out one group of people for different treatment from others, and we look forward to the day when gay and lesbian couples who are loving and committed as everyone else are able to enter into the institution of marriage in California.
Is it disappointing? Is it a problem in any way that the judges were focusing mostly on that point rather than the specific right for these marriages to occur, or is that an academic debate?
Well, certainly we believe that there is a fundamental right to marry the person that you love. It's a fundamental freedom that we should all value and all be able to take part in. So we would love to see a broad ruling at some point, but it is still positive that for gay and lesbian couples in California who want the same protections as everyone else, that this is a step forward in saying that they are going to be able to have those rights.
As positive as the court rulings have been almost since this passed in 2008, and as much as you have the demographics and the changing demographics of the nature on your side, do you sense that your community is getting frustrated to this point, that there has not been a decisive moment yet? And do you think that we're headed towards a tipping point at which a large part of the political mainstream will, keep the finger to the wind and say, okay, it's now safe, we can all afford to back this now?
Well, I think certainly for any community that's been denied their rights, the gay and lesbian community, people who would like to get married, would like to see that day come sooner rather than later, certainly. But this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is a process of educating the American public, going through state legislatures and the court of public opinion, certainly. But we're seeing a major shift. Just in the past decade, you've seen now 6 states in the District of Columbia with marriage equality, hopefully California joining that list soon. So this is the tide of history is on our side here.
From the other side of the tide, in more ways than one, there was a tweet from Newt Gingrich today. Court of Appeals overturning California's Prop 8, another example of an out-of-control judiciary. Let's end judicial supremacy. Practically speaking, is this ruling today more of a benefit to the LGBT community or to the Republicans who are still running on homophobia?
Well, this ruling today is a benefit for all fair-minded Americans. I think, you're going to have some politicians out there who want to score some cheap political points, but they're certainly not playing the long game. What might be beneficial to them in a Republican primary with right-wing voters certainly isn't going to play well in the general election when you have a majority of Americans who support equality for same-sex couples, support marriage, and they're just going to be marginalized and obviously on the wrong side of history.
Michael Cole-Schwartz, Communications Director of the Human Rights Campaign, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
When it comes to super PAC, should the president stand on principle, or will standing on principle hand the White House or the Senate to the Republicans, or is that itself just an excuse not to stand on principle? Coming up.